Hey guys, today we're looking back at your favourite Am I the A-hole stories from last year. Of all the people you think you could trust your husband to not cheat with, you'd think it'd be his stepsister, right? Wrong. Am I the a-hole for leaving my husband after finding out that he slept with his stepsister? Posted by Spontaneous Spooker. I'm a bit scared to post this. I posted a couple of months ago about this before I left my husband, but almost everyone defended my husband, and I got no support at all. That's why I'm worried about being called the a-hole. I'm disabled and on disability. In my other post, people accused me of marrying him for the financial support. I want to make it very clear, I did not. I loved him very much. Also, I have my family support. I also sell my writing and art. It's just not enough to support myself completely right now. Now, onto the story. We'd been married for a couple of months. He'd been complaining about the huge mess in the basement. So when he went to work, I decided to try and clean it up. I ended up finding a box filled with letters from his stepsister. I also found evidence that she'd gotten pregnant with his child and that she'd ended the pregnancy. My husband never told me anything about this. He grew up with her since he was 3. His father is now dead, but he still has his stepmother and sister in his life. I'd have to see her every week, and I just can't accept this. Say what you want about morals, you can believe whatever you want, but I just can't do it. Especially now, seeing how he treats her. I just feel so uncomfortable. She's supposed to be family. He calls her his sister. They might not be blood related, but they grew up together. Also, I don't think his stepmom knows. The other day, I asked her some questions about her daughter. She seems completely clueless. I was sickened by the amount of men in my posts saying I was being judgmental. I was inappropriately touched by my aunt. I had step-siblings and I never once thought about doing anything intimate with any of them. I just feel very strongly that it's wrong. They crossed a line that should not be crossed. I feel like way too many men watch adult videos and think this is a normal thing. I try not to judge others, things happen, but they're still talking and close. I can't move on knowing he's attracted to someone he calls his sister. Fish0814 says, "That's gross. She's not just a stepsister either. She's his ex that he spends so much time with. If it was any other ex, people would be on your side. You did the right thing. I wouldn't want my wife spending that much time with an ex. Period." But she's family. Sneaky Sneak says, "To be fair, it might not be his ex. Does OP have evidence that they ever stopped sleeping together?" So I found another one of these. I just found out that my boyfriend slept with his stepsister. Posted by Public Guy 4793. I'm so lost and not sure if I'm overreacting or not. You're not. I'm just gonna say that right now. You're not. I'm a 35-year-old woman and my boyfriend is a 36-year-old man. I've been with my boyfriend for over 5 years and just found out that he slept with his stepsister many times, years ago. We're all on a family trip together right now. His mum, dad, stepbrother, stepsister, and a bunch of his other relatives. And this is the second time I'm meeting his stepsister. He was absolutely wasted last night and I was telling him how much I like his stepsister. He continued by telling me I should dress like her, which I thought was a little strange. Then I said, "Sounds like you have a thing for your sister." And then he just came out and told me that over 15 years ago, he and his sister slept together many times. He kept mentioning it over and over, almost like he was proud of what he did. And it was a bit repulsive to me. Apparently, no one in his family knows. Only his best friend knows about what happened. Now, I honestly can't bear to look at him. I feel beyond disgusted, and I'm second guessing our entire relationship. We have 3 more days on this family vacation. I want to book an earlier flight and go home. Also, I'm an only child, so I'm not sure how normal this is. I'm feeling a bit shallow for judging him about the situation, so I'd love some insight from others. I'm so torn, I feel like the trip's been ruined. Okay, I have 7 sisters. Not once have I ever slept with or even considered sleeping with any of them. This is not normal. He asked her to dress like his sister? Ugh! Am I the a-hole for getting engaged to my ex-husband's new girlfriend's ex-husband? Posted by a throwaway account. I, 49 female, and my ex-husband, 50 male, let's call him Kevin, got divorced. The straw that broke the camel's back was when I came home with a present for him for our anniversary, and he accused me of getting it from whoever I was sleeping with and threw it away. He didn't even open the present, which was a Rolex watch that he'd looked at multiple times and expressed that he liked. I talked to a divorce attorney after this and we filed within a month and he moved out. I told my attorney about this and he wanted to know where he moved out as Kevin wouldn't list his new address. It was revealed that he moved in with his new girlfriend, 50 female, let's call her Jenny. I actually knew Jenny as our oldest kids have been in the same class since pre-K. I also knew that Jenny and her husband, 52 male, let's call him Terry, just got divorced right before us too. It took a little over a year to finalise the divorce since Kevin couldn't agree to any of the terms. A few weeks after the divorce, Kevin and Jenny went public with their relationship on a luxury beach trip. Terry sent me a friend request that I quickly accepted. I'll admit, at this moment I was being shallow because he's undeniably attractive. He's 6'3", tan from working outside on his farm, and fit. And he messaged me right after, just asking if I'd seen the post and blah blah blah. The conversation quickly turned into making plans to get dinner and drinks one night. It was Kevin's first weekend with the kids, so Terry and I went out. It sounds sappy, but in that moment, I knew this could be something. It felt natural talking to him, like I didn't have to walk on eggshells or tiptoe around things. He was the first person who actually looked at me when I was talking, and we agreed on almost everything. After we left, I invited him over, and we had a few more drinks and watched a sappy love movie, and had so much fun making fun of how unrealistic it was. Somehow, we finished a bottle and a half of wine, so I invited him to stay the night. He offered to sleep on the couch, but I told him he could sleep in the bed since I wasn't sleeping well because I wasn't used to sleeping alone. The next morning, I made us breakfast, and we agreed we should do this another time, and that it was great. As we were eating, Kevin texted me that he was down the road to drop the kids off. Terry rushed to get dressed and left. It felt terrible making him leave like that, and of course, the first thing Kevin asked was if he'd seen Terry's truck coming down our road. I told him nope, and he dropped the kids off and left. That was 4 years ago, and shortly after that, Terry admitted to me that he wanted a relationship, and I said yes. We kept it private all this time because it's really no one's business to know, as long as we were happy together. We just celebrated our 4th anniversary, and beginning in November, Terry started to hint that he wanted to propose and wanted me to move to his farm in another town since he lived an hour and a half away. He planned a surprise dinner with all our friends to propose to me. I couldn't believe he really did all this for me. All our friends were incredibly supportive and agreed that we seemed happy together and deserved to be happy with each other. The next day, I made a post that we were engaged. This was the first post about Terry and I on each other's pages. Right after the post, we started getting calls, texts, and Facebook messages from Jenny's family and Kevin's family. And Jenny sent a long message to Terry. She couldn't believe we would do this and didn't check with them first, and how insensitive it was to get engaged when we knew her and Kevin were on a break because of the fighting. He ignored all her messages until we both got messages from my family saying we were terrible people for getting engaged in spite of Jenny and Kevin, and how they no longer wanted to see my kids and wouldn't be attending the wedding. Terry helped me sell my house since he also works for a real estate company. We packed up all my stuff, sold all the furniture, and I moved into Terry's house. I left my job and was actually able to get a job at his company as a secretary. He has 2 sons who treat me very well. They don't call me their mum, but I don't expect them to either. But they do tell people that I'm their stepmom, and for Christmas they surprised me with a basketball mum t-shirt with their names and numbers. I couldn't stop crying after seeing it because it was so meaningful to me to see how they considered me their stepmom. Kevin had the kids for Christmas and was supposed to begin the normal split custody in January. But since January, the kids have said they don't want to see me. Kevin said he's talking to an attorney to change our custody schedule and that he wants full custody. I'm finally happy with someone that loves me, planning a very small wedding with only friends and family that were supportive of us and our relationship. I have 2 stepsons that love me, but I feel so empty without my kids. I did take them to meet Terry, and he's been to dinner with us many times. He treated them like his own, and he never got onto them or was mean to them. I feel so conflicted about what to do. My kids won't even talk to me over the phone and refuse to see me. So, am I the a-hole for getting engaged to Terry? Edit. My kids have always known Terry and were introduced to him a year and a half after we started dating. They had no problem with us being together and knew about the engagement as Terry took them to pick out the ring. It's not like he's a total stranger to them as they've been around him multiple times and been to his house. Mini update. I was able to talk to my usual therapist about a session next week to help the kids talk and maybe help them understand the truth. There's been no update, but down in the comments, Moonlover318 says, I have a feeling that the dad convinced the kids that the mum was having an affair. Rainbow Bell says, sounds like ex-hubby was the one cheating, considering how fast he moved on. I have to agree, it's super suspicious how fast he moved on, and how he thought that she was cheating on him. It's crazy how everyone's against Terry and OP getting engaged 4 years later. But somehow we're okay with her husband and Jenny getting together right after they separated. I'm not sure how much of an update this is, but here we go. To start, I'm sure he and Jenny had an affair when we were still married, but I don't really care to know. I don't let them waste any of my energy worrying about them and what they do, or did. I probably could have worded the end of my post better. Terry isn't a stranger that I just pulled off the street and got engaged to. My kids have always known Terry as his kids are the same age and played the same sports. I told them I was dating someone after a year and a half and introduced them to him shortly after. They've been to dinner with Terry and me, been with me when Terry came over, and been to Terry's house where he lives. He's a very busy, hardworking man, so we didn't get to spend very much time together, where I live or with my kids, so I would usually spend time at his house. But I never skip time with my kids to see him. Terry's a farmer, land real estate agent, owns his own business, and is a volunteer firefighter, so that's why I decided to move there instead of the other way around. He has roots in his area while I was free to move. I did tell my kids prior to the move and engagement that I'd like to move there one day. They did tell me that they weren't really interested in moving there as they like their school and didn't want to switch. I was fine with that and told them if I did, I'd still like them to stay, if it's for a weekend or when they're on break. Terry also took all 3 of my boys and his 2 to pick out my ring, so it wasn't a shock to any of them. He asked all 3 of my kids individually if they were fine with it before he even proposed. I was also asked about if they could come to his house, and yes, they could. Terry has a very nice ranch house he built himself, with 5 full bedrooms and 3 empty finished rooms in the basement that could be used as bedrooms. They've already stayed there too before the engagement and had no problems. Terry also has a room that he calls his office that he offered to clear out to make room for another upstairs bedroom, so one kid didn't have to sleep downstairs if all 5 were staying at his house, so they could all have their own rooms and privacy. I didn't want to act like I was hiding my relationship with Terry, but we wanted to take things slow and not rush, hence why we didn't post on social media or tell our exes. Obviously, our friends knew about us. You can only tell people you're just friends for so long before they catch on. But we only told very, very close friends who wouldn't gossip and tell everyone. And lastly, the question about my job. Yes, I went from a director of a department to a secretary making just under what I made as a director. You would all be very surprised what small town local business secretaries make. I'm a secretary/accountant for the land real estate company, as well as for Terry's business and his farm. I go to work with him at 2:30 AM and don't leave until he does at 9 PM and still have farm chores after. So, for everyone degrading my career, I work my butt off. You work from 2:30 AM to 9 PM, then chores after, and you have kids? GOP, you're making us all look bad. Now, onto the update. After that post and the advice, I called my lawyer, who agreed he can't keep the kids from me, and he's definitely doing something to make them flip like that. He did say we could go to court, but I told him I wanted to try and resolve it without court first. I'm not ashamed of it, and I'll admit, I see a therapist for my own health. I talked to her about getting a session with just my kids, and she agreed. I called Kevin after to say I wanted to have a talk with only the boys and he could drop them off, but he could not attend. The therapist was finally able to get them to open up. You Reddit detectives were correct. He changed the story to say that Terry and I had an affair for years before we got a divorce. He even tried to tell the youngest that Terry could be his dad because I was cheating then. This isn't true. I never cheated on Kevin in our entire relationship. I was able to tell the kids the full truth, and I felt like a 50-pound weight was lifted off my chest. After, I'd never been happier to hug all 3 of them. I made sure to express how much we missed them and are happy to have them home. And completely unexpected, all 3 gave Terry a hug. Terry isn't one to cry, but the second they hugged him, I saw his eyes water up, and I knew I was making the right decision and picked someone who loved these boys as much as I do. They spent the weekend with us, and I was able to tell the older 2 the full story about Kevin and Jenny, how the marriage fell apart, and once again invited them to live with us. They both said they actually wanted to, but since Kevin had fed them lies, they hadn't wanted to be around us. They get out of school in May and are planning on moving in with us for the summer. This will hopefully be a good opportunity for them to bond with Terry's kids and their friends. I won't push them to move here as it's their own choice, but deep down, I really hope they do. I think going to a smaller school and living in a smaller town will be better for them than living in a city. I told my youngest a more watered down version of events. I did make sure to tell him that Kevin is his real dad and what he told him about Terry isn't true. He seemed to understand. So, for the moment, Kevin is fine with the boys moving in here for the summer. All 3 of them asked him instead of me, and I think that helped a lot, showing him that it was their decision, not mine. To say I'm excited is an understatement. I'm over the moon with how well this has worked out. I've talked with my lawyer and he said the older 2 are able to decide where they'll go. But Kevin and I will have to come to an agreement for our youngest. I don't want full custody as I think kids need their father in their lives, but my lawyer is urging me to fight for full custody. With travel sports starting up, Kevin and I were able to agree on a temporary agreement of me getting the kids on the weekends that they have a game. I'll pick them up on the Friday, go to the game on the Saturday, and bring them home on Sunday. But we have been sorting out a more permanent agreement with the lawyers. They were able to agree with the older 2 having a decision, as long as they didn't miss anything important, such as school. Turns out Kevin also told the kids that Terry was still dependent on drugs. To make a long story short, about 2 years ago, Terry had been having neck problems and saw a chiropractor for the first time in his life. That chiropractor broke his neck in 4 places, resulting in him needing 2 surgeries and becoming addicted to painkillers. He was on them for a year, and it took him another 6 months to get off, but he's been clean since. Kevin also said that Terry and I wanted to take them away and never let them see their other family. He also tried to accuse me of being addicted to drugs. I get nauseous from taking painkillers, so I refuse to take any, even after a mastectomy and reconstruction surgery. I also found out that Jenny was calling them my boys and wanting them to take her last name. That's still Terry's because she refused to change it after the divorce. So there's still lots we don't know, but hopefully will one day. I'm glad there's a happy ending after all of this, but OP's lawyer's right. The dad is being toxic and messing with the kids' heads. And he doesn't seem to care how it's impacting his kids, as long as he hurts OP. I get wanting them to have a relationship with their dad, but can he really be trusted? Am I the a-hole for not helping someone after she almost destroyed my chances of getting a degree and almost destroyed a teacher's career? Posted by Annual Quantity 1905. I, 25 female, worked for a university from the age of 18 to 21. For many years, I felt that university wasn't for me, as although I had good grades, my self-esteem was pretty low, and I thought I wasn't good enough for university, and I couldn't even afford it. I worked as an assistant for various departments, and many of my colleagues who taught students said they could see my potential, and they finally encouraged me to apply. I decided to apply for the university, and I got in! I was also accepted onto 4 scholarships that are designed for students with lots of potential, so I no longer had to worry about applying for student loans and not being able to afford it. Last year, I was meant to be in my final year of university, and I should have graduated, but a student was making up rumours about me and this lecturer having an affair, which didn't happen. The university soon picked up on these rumours and started their own investigation. At first, the lecturer and I had to stay separated, which meant I missed half the classes, as she was one of 2 who was teaching me for the year. 2 months later, the lecturer got suspended with full pay, and 5 days later, the university sent me an email to my personal email account and told me that I was being suspended and that I was not allowed on university grounds and that I was not allowed to contact anyone at the university. The staff who were investigating these rumours fully believed that we were having an affair and were suspended for 9 months so they could find evidence of our affair. As a result of them taking 9 months, I ended up failing the final year, and now I have to retake it. While suspended, these rumors about the affair were spreading around the campus fast, and everyone knew. I had a friend, who I now consider my best friend, who made contact under a secret Snapchat account. He asked my account and said he fully believed me, and started doing his own investigation to find out who it was. After speaking to various students, he finally found some evidence there was a student who made up the rumors. They both started and reported it to the university. He found concrete evidence and took it to the investigation team, who then closed the report and allowed us back on campus. But the student didn't get suspended or punished. All she was made to do is retake the 3rd and final year and had to pay for it, whereas I didn't. Now I'm in class with her and she struggles a lot, and she keeps requesting my help due to me always understanding the assignments and the fact that I know what to do. She's fed up with me for saying no and spoke to our former classmates, and now they're saying I'm an a-hole because I'm keeping a grudge against her because of what she did and the fact that I nearly lost a degree, which I haven't, and they're saying that I should help her out. Am I the a-hole for refusing to help her when she nearly cost me a degree and a teacher her career? But you are helping her. You're teaching her that there's consequences for actions. Am I the a-hole for refusing to pay a friend who paid for my wedding dress? Posted by In My Feelings, but I don't know. So, I was looking to buy this dress from a brand in New York City, but because I'm not based there, the only option was to go through a retailer where I'm based at, and that would cost $2.4 thousand, excluding alterations. I found a listing from Still White, and it was the exact dress that I wanted, in my size and brand new for $900. The previous owner had cancelled her wedding. My friend from school, Serena, who happened to be in New York at the time, agreed to pick it up for me and bring it back with her to where I'm based, where she's also from. I was really grateful and happy, and even intended to gift her $100 on top of covering the Uber rides to and from the place as a token of my appreciation. However, my joy turned to horror when I saw Serena's Insta story showcasing her trying on my wedding dress. I called her out for it, telling her I wasn't happy that she not only tried it on without my permission, but posted it for the public to see. She didn't take it down, even after the conversation we had about this. To make matters worse, she admitted she collected the dress posing as me. Through an email bill later, I noticed the dress had also been altered, what the F, on the spot without my knowledge or consent. When confronted, Serena nonchalantly stated that it was her one chance to try on a wedding gown and insisted that I should get over it and reimburse her the $900 she paid for the dress. My wedding dress experience was completely hijacked, and now I'm hesitant to pay her back. This all happened yesterday, and she reached out today to ask for the money back and told me to get over it because she needs to make a big purchase tomorrow and it would help her cash flow. Since she wants it so bad, she can now have it. Am I the a-hole? Update 1. First of all, thank you everyone for being so empathetic and indignant on my behalf. I don't feel crazy anymore. When I saw a post, I completely lost it. I cried so pathetically. I know everyone must be wondering why I'm even friends with Serena and how that reflects on me as a person too. I've always known that Serena is a bad friend, but I've still kept her around because of her mental health struggles. I was the only friend connected to her family, so if anything happened, I'd be the one to sound the alarm. I don't think I could have lived with the guilt if anything really happened to Serena. But I guess my job is done because Serena's audacity tells me she's in a much better place. Good for her. I don't have the dress on hand yet because it's still in New York with her. She's coming back to where we're based February 24th. I agree that she was doing me a favour, and for that I'll still pay her for the dress. After all, it was $900, but with the following terms. I will only pay her upon the receipt of the dress. The trust is completely broken, and I don't know what else she might do to the dress. Sleep in it? I unfortunately need this leverage over her until I have it in my hands. Otherwise, she has no incentive to keep her hands off it. For all I know, she's chucked it in dusty storage to spite me. 2. I'll pay her $900 minus the cost of dry cleaning and alterations. It's like borrowing a friend's clothes and not washing it before returning it. Did I mention she also tried it on after her Pilates class without even showering? I think this arrangement is fair and I wouldn't owe her anything. 3. I'll end this friendship. To be honest, I think if Serena and I met as adults, we wouldn't be friends. The friendship has run its course, and I think I did the best I could. She for real, so I was playing Anna Sorokin on her. Serena called me a con artist and isn't even sorry that she rained all over my parade. Friend? Human? 4. She's uninvited. Need I say more? Update 2. Serena had told me there was lipstick stains on the dress and offered to buy me a stain pen. Later I found out from the shop owner that the stains were actually caused by Serena. So Serena not only lied blatantly, but she tried to cover up her vile behaviour by coming across as helpful. I have ever since reverted to Serena and given her 2 options. 1. Sell it to me at half the cost to cover alterations and dry cleaning. 2. Sell it to someone else. She chose option 2 and showed no true remorse. End of story and friendship. Am I the a-hole for telling my brother that his perfect woman speech was creepy? Posted by Honest Manor 1144. I'm 20 female and my older brother Adam is 38 male. He's one of those men who listen to incels online and say horrendous things about women. Our parents, both 63, adore him, their beloved son and favourite child. They enable him through everything and feed his ego 3 meals a day. My brother and I both had the option of our parents paying for college. I happily took it up while he didn't. He stuck to the family business and lived his life free of everything, and honestly, that's totally okay. He's 38 and unmarried, as I said, normal and very much okay, not the problem. He's never been a loner or left out. He's probably had around 50 girlfriends since high school to now. One night, as we were all having dinner with some of our family, my brother expressed that he wants to get married soon. I was so happy for him and immediately smiled. My father asked, to who? And he went on to say, well, she doesn't know yet, but I have my eye on this girl, Ella, next door. The blonde one, she's smoking hot and freaking gorgeous. The table was filled with a bit of confusion and some support. I reacted differently. I asked him, Ella from next door? Isn't she 19? He seemed confused and asked me what the big deal is, to which I replied, she's younger than me, and you were already 18 when I was born. His response is what made my already insufferable brother look worse to me. He said, men get their life together, and when around my age and successful, we want new meat to have children with, who can carry our line on, real young women who are fertile. I told him that was weird and creepy, and a twisted way to talk about women. I got trashed on by my parents. He went on to ask Ella out, and obviously, she rejected him. According to my parents, he was persistent and she told him, weren't you like 19 when I was born, weirdo? Now they suspect that somehow I'm the mastermind who brainwashed and told Ella to reject him because of what I said during dinner, since nobody would really reject their perfect boy. They are blowing up my phone, waiting for me at my job, asking for me at my college so I can fix what I did to make Ella say no and make her say yes. I've never talked to that girl, but I'm glad she didn't put up with his BS. There's nothing to fix. I've done nothing. My mum is asking me to publicly apologise to my brother at a little party they're having this weekend because, thanks to me, our family has labelled him a creep and it probably got to Ella. I don't want to do that. My mum is saying stuff like, when I'm gone you'll remember what you did to me. My dad says he regrets having a kid so much later than his first because I have no manners and I'm embarrassing. I'm telling them it's human decency to understand that Adam is creepy, and they're calling me a hater and demanding that I apologise or they'll cut contact. Am I the a-hole for embarrassing him? Honestly, I don't see how, but I need some insight from others because I'm going to show this post to my parents since they swear I'm chronically online. Relevant comment. Dear Lord, I hope he never babysat for her. Opie replied and said, no, he never babysat anyone. He can't even make his own food. Update. Okay, so as I said previously, I made that post to show my parents because they were saying that nobody genuinely agrees with me and my family was just led astray by me. My parents informed me that my brother has been harassing Ella on social media, making posts about her and threatening her boyfriend. Just found out she had one through my parents. I hadn't contacted them much over the last 3 to 4 days, so I wasn't really caught up with his drama. They also asked Ella if she'd talk to me, and she told them the truth, that we'd never spoken to each other. Ella threatened a restraining order because my brother can't handle rejection. So you can imagine how that works when they live next door. Her parents are apparently furious, and mine decided to talk to the priest at our local church and ask his opinion. Since he disagreed with their behaviour, and they're very religious, they've backed down a bit. However, the real reason my parents are mad at me, according to my dad, is the family pride. I honestly don't even want to know what that means. My mother told me that she still hates me for what I did. My father says that he wants no contact with me for shaming the family in front of others and refusing to apologise. But he said he will still pay for my last 2 years of college because he's done way more for my brother financially, and that's only fair in his eyes. Honestly, there's nothing more that I need. I didn't even bother showing them the last post because they'd made their minds up, and my mum never really liked me much, so I expected her to be completely against me. I was already thinking about backup plans regarding my college, but I'm glad it didn't get to that. As the priest disagreed with them, to save family pride and reputation, they've given my brother a few months to move to his own place, that they'll probably pay for, but still, this came as a shocker to me. My mum said if I wasn't jealous of my brother, it wouldn't have come to her baby boy leaving the nest. I reminded her that he's almost 40, and she started screaming, so my dad had to take her and leave. Lots of people said they don't understand why I reacted so fast in that way. Well, my entire childhood, my brother has been an adult, and up until I was a teenager, I've never been able to even talk to him because of how much older he was. He was always annoyed by my presence anywhere because I was a kid. Now put yourself into my shoes, it's just weird. I'm not sad about the no contact. I know it was very impulsive to explode in front of others, but I didn't want any of the younger people around the table to think that that's okay, because it isn't. It's objectifying and humiliating. I have a job, an apartment, and plenty of friends. I won't be lonely, and I won't be grieving the fact that my parents don't want me around. It's their choice. Thanks for everyone who was kind and gave me advice. I appreciate everything. Am I the a-hole for saying I won't kid swap over the Christmas holiday? Posted by Kid Swaps. I, 32 female, have a brother, Charles, 38 male, who has a girlfriend, Claire, 35 female. Claire has a daughter, Ruby, 8 female, who has additional needs. This will be relevant. And I have a daughter, B, who's 4. We're all, along with mine and Charles's parents, gonna be going on a family holiday over Christmas. Claire was originally not bringing Ruby as she was meant to be staying with her father, but her dad is a flake and cancelled, so Claire is now bringing her. For context, Claire loves my daughter, which is great. She'll volunteer to babysit her unprompted, and whenever we see her at events, she always wants to play with B. I don't need babysitting as I'm a stay-at-home mother, and my own mother is nearby for emergencies. B loves her, and it's nice to see, but it is noticeable how she'll spend the whole afternoon fussing over B, even when me and my husband are perfectly capable of looking after her. But again, she's great with B, so we don't mind. A couple days ago, Claire and I were texting about what to pack for the trip as I was lending her some clothes. During this, I sent her a picture of what I was packing for B to give her some idea of what Ruby would need, and Claire said she was really looking forward to seeing B. She then suggested for a couple of days during the holiday, we do a kid swap where we babysit each other's kids for the day. I was immediately not keen on this idea as I've only met Ruby twice and I know nothing about her needs or how to properly look after her. Also, I come on holiday to spend time with my child, not to farm her out to other people. I skirted around the issue saying we could definitely do things together, but Claire kept pushing me to agree. She wanted her and Charles to take B for the day to go ice skating. This back and forth went on for a while before I finally said, "No, I'm not letting you borrow my child, you already have one." Claire said I was being unfair and that she deserves a break and to have an enjoyable holiday too. She then said she didn't want to borrow my clothes anymore and stopped texting me. Charles is now saying that she's very hurt that I won't let her take B out and that Claire adores her. I said that's not the point. I'm not comfortable caring for Ruby on my own, and frankly, I find it a bit odd that Claire's idea of taking a break from parenting involves babysitting. Charles says that I'm being dramatic and that babysitting Ruby for a few hours doesn't need a degree and that should just help Claire out. Now I'm wondering if he's right. Am I the a-hole? Is it just me, or does it kind of sound like she wants to swap kids permanently? In-laws can be deranged, and sometimes this calls for creative solutions. In the next video, Opie makes damn sure that her mother-in-law never snoops on her ever again. Click here to watch that. See you in the next one, and thanks for watching.